Once we've done that, there are certain taping procedures and things that we can do to stabilize. So if you have a hypermobile carpal tunnel, we may need to tape it and hold it in the tunnel position until the ligaments shorten and can hold them on their own. So that might take somewhere between 6 weeks, sometimes upwards of 3 months to do that. In that case, I'm going to show you how to tape the carpal tunnel. First of all, I'd like you to hold your thumb and little finger together. Notice that the carpal tunnel is now in a tunnel position and has a volume right there. Whereas if we flatten it out and open the fingers, that this flattens the retinaculum and compresses on all of the different tissues, including nerves and blood vessels and tendons and sheaths going through here. So holding that together and then taking some tape. Hold that still. We have different types of tape. You know, this is just common electrical tape. It could be used. It's rubberized, it's very flexible, and it comes in designer colors. So what we have is a situation where we want to take the tape and open it up and wrap it around the mid-metacarpals a couple of times. Put the wrist in slight extension and put the tape across here, and you can move this proximal to distal if necessary, if there's any skin reaction to the tape. And as we do this, this is very replaceable. One roll will last a long time, even months. Now open your hand, please. And if you'll notice, the tape holds the tunnel in the tunnel position, that there's an actual arch in there. And try and open your hand really wide and make that flat. Even though he's trying to make it flat, can you see the tunnel right there with the tape? Well, that's the carpal tunnel, and that increases the volume and takes the pressure off of the median nerve, the ulnar nerve that's going through here, but especially the median nerve, and helps hold the keystone of the hand, which is the lunate bone. The interesting thing about the lunate bone is that most keystones have the wide part at the top. The lunate's just the opposite. It has the narrow part at the top. And so it needs all of that arch coming together, compressing on those facets to hold it in place. Otherwise it goes ballistic and bounces on the median nerve. This helps stop that. They can go to work this way. They can do a lot of different jobs with something as simple as electrical tape. You know, you could buy expensive looking hand gloves that would cost $25 to $45, but this does the job, and it's very accessible for most individuals. Now, what if we wanted to tape the hand and wrist in another direction? Well, we're going to just cut here, take this off, and show you a few other possibilities. If we want to, we can protect the skin if there's a lot of hair with pre-wrap. So we can wrap pre-wrap around here and do the wrist and hand. Let's just get on there a little bit easier. Good. All right. Now, we take 2-inch elasticon tape, and we start here. If we want to stabilize the wrist, we can start up a little higher and then go down to the wrist, circumducting. Now when we get to this area, once again, what's important? Touch the thumb and the little finger together. What does that do? It once again restores the carpal tunnel, and the wrist is in slight extension, about 30 degrees of extension, which is the handshake position. So you want that 30 degrees of extension known as the handshake position. Now as we come around and hold that in that tunnel position, we can do a few things. We can just stabilize the wrist and wrap it around a few more times. We can also take it into a thumb support to stabilize the metacarpal carpal joint of the thumb or the metacarpal phalangeal joint. So once we get to this point, open up the thumb, and we'll circumduct around the thumb. Now to do this, I'm going to pinch the tape a little bit because it's going to go through the web of the thumb. The reason that I do that is that the sensory nerve that goes to the thumb is right here in the web, and I don't want the tape to press in there too hard, otherwise he may get a little numbness in the thumb. So now we go around and lock that off and hold the hand once again in extension and the thumb and little finger together, and just wrap up the wrist nice and easy. Take our scissors and finish that off. Now open up your hand. Notice what we just did. We maintained the carpal tunnel down here with the wrist. We stabilized the carpal metacarpal joint and the thumb joints. We stabilized all of the bones of the wrist and hand. And we kept some continuity here so that now he can grab wrist and squeeze, and his bones aren't shifting around, creating pain and impingement upon the median nerve. It's a great way to go. Now I want to show you a nifty little device that really helps stabilize the muscles from the elbow down to the wrist. This is known as a Dynaflex. Some of them are called Theraflex or Dynabees or Therabees. Any number of those names can apply to this particular type of gyroscope. If we start it, we start with our hand above the gyroscope and strike it with the fleshy part of our hand in this position. Then we turn it. While it's going slow, we want to move our wrist slow in a circumduction motion. That's actually making all of the muscles around the forearm work, which is bringing up to speed. It's a diagnostic as well as therapeutic device. Why is it diagnostic? Because as you do this, the muscles that get tight and sore are the weaker muscles. So you're going to get a burn and you're going to notice where that is in your forearm. And it's exercising that muscle at the same time. The faster it goes, the smaller the circle. So that you strengthen those muscles. And you can hear the wind-up of the RPMs of the gyroscope. Now, it's not just doing it in that position, it's also doing it in flexion or extension or radial deviation, which is toward me, toward the radius, or toward the ulnar deviation. Or we can do it in rotation. All of those motions help stabilize the muscles from the elbow to the wrist. You can really get it going. As you get tired, you can switch hands and really get the RPMs up and make it go really fast. Of course, it's always interesting to hand it to your friend. Put it in their hand. Just don't touch the ball on the bottom and see if they can keep it going. Part of the fun is making a game out of it. Don't let it die. When I'm in the classroom situation, I hand it around and the classroom's going, and the person that lets it die, everybody is pretty excited about it. So it's a fun way to go. And this concludes a section on the wrist and hand. I hope that you've learned how to stabilize the wrist and hand with both taping and exercises and fun devices such as the Theraflex.